Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So it has been a quick minute since I have filmed. I have been actually just really sick and just haven't had a chance to film. So this video is going to be late. I ordered it when it went on sale and I just haven't been able to film because I just wasn't feeling well. So, but it did give me a little bit of a chance to kind of do a little bit more research. And of course, I'm talking about the Natasha Denona Bloom eyeshadow palette. It is her, I think, 16th midi, because I just did my ranking and there was 15, I believe. So I think this is number 16. And so yeah, I just did, of course I just did the ranking, but this is the Bloom palette, and here is the actual palette. Now, I'm sure you already know this is a watercolor that was painted by Natasha Denona, and this is the palette. Now I have already swatched it and I've played around with it and I've done some comparisons, but yeah, we're gonna try it on, talk about it, and let you know. I'm going to give you my opinion on whether or not I think it's worth it, and then I'm going to give you two very good, I won't say dupes, but good, you know, or affordable, more affordable options that you could probably, kind of something that's comparable. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the Bloom Midi palette, and it is $69. That is the going price right now for her Midi palettes. And on her website, it states the Bloom eyeshadow palette showcases a warm-hued assortment of all new shades in Natasha's iconic pro-level and user-friendly formulas. It features 6 buttery creamy mattes, 2 ultra-blendable silky mattes, 2 high shine metallics, and 5 dazzling sparkling foiled shades, including Equinox, a groundbreaking peach toned duochrome with a mesmerizing turquoise-blue shift and a truly unique shimmering finish. Okay, so I'm gonna get right to the point, and I will say the last couple palettes there have been some shades that are just like blows my mind. I think it kind of started with the Yucca palette. The Yucca palette was really the first one that I remember. There was just a couple of the sparkling foiled shades that were just amazing. I have not tried this on yet. I have not tried it on. I'm going to try it on today. I'm going somewhere tomorrow, so I think I'm going to, since this video is already so late, I'm going to film another look tomorrow and film it there so that I can have like 2 looks for this video. But my initial impressions for right now is that it's just not, the shimmers they're not bad. They're really pretty, but they're not spectacular like some of the other ones. So again, I have not tried it on, but the first one, like that Equinox shades, that's the one right here. This is the one that everybody kind of was like talking about, and it was definitely caught my eye. And when I swatched it, I was kind of like, oh, that's it. So, and actually I'll swatch it right now. It's not that it's not pretty, but it's just kind of there. So now as far as color story, I love this type of color story. I am a warm girl. I love peach. This is totally me. One of my favorite palettes is the bronze, which I just realized is gone everywhere. It's gone from her website. It's gone from everywhere. Like, you can't buy it anywhere. So I was really surprised to see that. But I love the I Need a Warm was my favorite of my top 50, you know, of all the midis. It's I Need a Warm was my number 1. I Need a Nude was my number 2. You could probably interchange them, but the warm kind of edged it out because I do like warm tones. This is, I kind of say like this is the Bloom palette, that this is also I Need a Peach. Like, that's kind of what I feel like. This is the I Need a Peach palette. Still beautiful, but it's really, and it's got some, you know, different tones, you know, but you've got the orangey tones, like the rust tone here. You've got some different varieties here, but it's really pretty. It's got, you know, a versatility. It says from essential coral browns to soft nude apricots and bold brick reds, this spring must-have offers a versatile range of warm tones to create everything from soft, sparkling doll eyes to bold, expressive glam looks. Created with Natasha's signature formulas, this floral-inspired midi palette delivers professional quality results for every skill level. So anyway, so let's go ahead and look at the swatches. Now, these are swatches that I did in natural sunlight, and what I did is I broke up the mattes first from light to darkest, and then the sparkly foiled shades from light to darkest. So you'll see right here, those are all the shades, and you know, they're really pretty. What I did like about the shades is that there's not a lot of like not close shades. Like sometimes with Natasha Denona, she'll have a lot of shades that are really, really close in tone, and you kind of think like, well, that maybe they shouldn't have done that. They're pretty close. They're pretty versatile, and if they're kind of close in like tone, the undertone is different. That third sparkling shade is the Equinox, and honestly, it just kind of I'm sure it's gonna look beautiful on the eye, but where it says it's like it's groundbreaking, it doesn't appear that way to me. Okay, so I'm going to try it on for the first time, and just going, again, I'm not a makeup artist, just in case you've never watched my channel before, but one of the things I will say is this shade right here, when I swatched it, is really light. These are types of shades usually I don't like, but I'll see, you know, I'll see if I like it or not. I'm gonna place that one, that is Petal, and I am going to place it kind of in the inner corner and on the upper top, like by the brow bone, kind of, but it pretty much doesn't even show up on my eye. So I'm not the biggest fan of that shade. Next, I'm gonna try and go with the peachy type shades and the browns. So, you know, you do have like these three right here kind of go together. Those are kind of the more mauve. So it kind of gives you a little variety. There's the brick red here one, but I'm gonna start with Keen, which it actually looks to be very close, but it actually has a little bit more pigment to it. I'm gonna start with that as my transition and see how that works. It might be too light, but I'm gonna start with them. And you can see here, it does kind of pack some pigment. So I am going to, and I did put an eyeshadow primer, just my alter ego eyeshadow primer. That is a great little eyeshadow primer that's very, very inexpensive. So that's a really pretty peach color. You know, that light shade, even though they look in the pan to be very, very similar, this one is not that, this one has a lot more pigment. So this is the shade Keen. Okay, so this is Keen. Next, I'm going to take that darkest shade Bark, and I am going to use that in the outer corner and in the crease to kind of just deepen it up. This is something, again, if you're new to my channel, this is what I kind of always do. And it's my go-to look, and it's easy. And once you get into it, it's pretty easy. So, but I mean, I love Natasha Denona's formula. I love her mattes. They're great. They blend out great. So I'm not, you know, I'm not like expecting, you know, any surprises here as far as the mattes are concerned. They're usually blendable, and especially that these aren't like really difficult colors like a purple. These are usually pretty colors that are, you know, I guess easy to make. And then obviously Natasha Denona's formula is great. So that is the shade Bark. Went on really easily, blended really nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, but again, no surprises here. Okay, so there is with Keen with Bark. And then next I'm gonna go in with this fluorescence shade right here. Now fluorescence and floor, they're pretty, but they are, you know, they're just okay, to be honest. And I hate saying that about Natasha Denona, but that is floor, and then this is fluorescence. This is the one I'm going to go in, and they're pretty shimmers, but they're not what I expect from Natasha Denona, to be honest. So I'm kind of, I won't say disappointed, but I am a little disappointed, especially since I did pay full price for this because I didn't wait for a sale. So, but you know, it's not that it's not pretty. It's not that it's not pretty, but I just don't find a shade that's kind of worth writing home about, I guess you could say. But we're gonna put on fluorescence, and then I'm gonna go over with Equinox and see that one as well. So, but let's just go ahead and do fluorescence, and I'm putting it on with a brush, but I'm gonna kind of finish it up, and I'm not gonna go all the way in the corner. I'm gonna put most of the lid, but not in the inner corner. Okay, so that is fluorescence. Next, I'm gonna take Equinox, and I'm gonna go in on the inner corner. And Equinox is, you know, it's that duochrome that it says, but I've seen better. I'm gonna be honest. So I'm gonna put it, you know, it's really pretty. It is really pretty. So I'm gonna put this kind of on the inner corner and then bring it in. it is really pretty, but it said it was groundbreaking. It's not groundbreaking at all. It's pretty. It's a pretty shade, but definitely not groundbreaking. So I'm gonna just bring it in. It's just, honestly, that shade right there is the most disappointing in this palette. Okay, so that is with Equinox, kind of the inner corner, bringing it to probably about a third or maybe even a half of the eyelid. And then I'm gonna take the shade Crisp and I'm gonna put that on the brow bone. So, you know, again, very basic, very easy to do. I've talked about this. This is kind of how I always do. I do try and do sometimes a halo eye, but that I take more time and I don't do that on camera. So occasionally I love how an halo eye, and I usually have to watch somebody else's tutorial to do it. But you know, I do like the shade Crisp. I will like that in the inner corner as well, but definitely on the brow bone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on some mascara, probably line the bottom lash, and then come back and then we'll talk about some comparisons. Okay, so here is my final look, and I like it. I like it. I don't love it. Obviously, this is only one look. This is just kind of the peachier tones of the palette. But given that I really love peach tones, and I think I probably like more coppery tones is the thing. You know, it's pretty. It's pretty. I like it. But is it something like, wow, sometimes I do my eyes and I'm like, oh, I love it. Then I'm not getting that vibe. I could change my mind later. So I am going to do another look tomorrow, and I'm going to try and do kind of more of the pinkier tones, or I guess the mauvier tones. So we'll go ahead and that will be up next. And then I'm going to come back and kind of film the end before I even do that look. Okay, so I am back and I am going to pretty much use this fourth row right here to kind of get more of a pinkier look. I'll probably use also the Floor, which is more of a pinky one. So I'm going to use those 4 shades right there, and then maybe top it with this or this one, the Equinox or the Crisp, don't know yet, but just going to play around. But I'm going to start with Ren as the transition shade, and again, so trying to get more of a pinkier or mauvier look than the one I did that you just saw, that was more of peach. So again, this is Ren and this is going to be the transition shade. Okay, so here is the Ren transition shade, so totally different from the one you just saw that I did yesterday. So now I'm going to go in with the shade Clover, which is this one on the bottom row. Again, this is all like the 4th column here. And I'm gonna do kind of just the same thing where I just did the other look. Again, if you've never watched my channel before, it's just kind of what I always do. And I just kind of bring it out and then bring it up and in. And I try and just use it once and then blend it out. Okay, so that is with Clover, the outside. And what I'm gonna do now is take the shade Rue, which is again that middle sparkly shade, and I'm going to put it on the lid. It's a little darker than I probably would have wanted to go for today, but I'm definitely going to put this on, and I might go a little with the lighter pink. Now I did get a lot of fallout with that one, which is fine because I haven't put my base on yet, but again, these shades just kind of, it's okay. It's pretty, it's just okay. It's nothing to write home about. I am going to go in now with that Floor shade, which is the lighter one in the top corner, and I'm going to go in the middle, the inner corner, and then bring it over. And that's a really pretty shade, but again, just kind of just a typical shimmer. You know, pretty, but that's it. Okay, so that is with the Floor in the middle, or the inner corner. Now what I'm going to do is take the Crisp shade right here, and I am going to put that in the brow bone, just like I did yesterday. And I haven't done my brows, so I'm probably going to have to redo that, but that's where I'm going to put. And then let me go ahead and take that Equinox shade, and I'm just going to pop it right in the middle, just to give a little bit of sparkle. Just to kind of add a little bit of shine. It doesn't add too much. Again, that shade is a little disappointing, but it's also pretty versatile because it's not too shiny, but I'm gonna do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go finish the rest of my makeup, come back, show you the final look, and then we'll go back to the end of the video from yesterday. Okay, so here is my final look minus my lipstick, and it's pretty. I like it. It's pink. It's definitely different from yesterday. Yesterday was more peach. This is more pink. But again, the sparkle is missing. So I'll talk about that at the end, but it's pretty. I do like that I was able to get like a pink and a peach look, but again, it's still not my favorite. So, but this is my second look. Okay, so hopefully it came out good, but let's go ahead and talk about some comparisons. So I did do some swatch comparisons to two palettes that I think are maybe a more affordable option. Now, one has been out for a while and the price has actually gone up quite a bit, like $16. However, they always have a sale, so it's a palette that you can get on sale. But let's first talk about the Sigma palette. So when I was looking at my Sigma palettes, I have two. So the first one I was thinking of was New Mod, but New Mod is definitely more pink and purpley. So it's definitely not, New Mod is not a comparison. The one that instantly kind of was like, when I saw it, I was like, okay, Corderosa. Corderosa is really comparable. And when you do it side by side, and I do swatch comparisons, but when you compare it side by side, it's actually very, very similar. This one has a little bit more dimension. Now, obviously you are going to get, this one has 14 shades, this one has 15 shades, and this palette used to be $49, it is now 65. So I just looked today and it's 65, which was a big surprise. But let's go ahead and take a look at the swatches. So here are the swatches in natural sunlight, and you will see that a lot of the shades are pretty close. Like obviously you do have that really nice bright pink, but with the mattes, which are going to be the first 8 shades, there are a lot of similarities. The mattes is really where there's the most similarities. There is, I believe, 9 mattes in the Sigma palette, so you're going to get less shimmers, but the mattes, you pretty much, they're almost shade for shade dupes, and then you're going to get that extra hot pink shade. Now the shimmers are, you know, are different, right? So you have two kind of light shimmers, and then you've got like a mauve one, kind of a rose type one, and then that deep purple at the end. Now, what I would say is with a typical Natasha Denona palette, I think like the shimmers are where it makes a difference. In this palette, the shimmers are just okay. They're good, but I don't think they're anything to write home about. So honestly, comparing it with Corderosa, again, Corderosa is $65, and I do prefer the Natasha Denona formula over the Sigma formula, but I think the Sigma formula is excellent. But Sigma always has a sale. They have a 40% sale, you know, every couple months. So you can get this at 40%, and sometimes even more if they have a package or they have like a bundle. You can get this palette. You can also get like the they have the 7-pan one, which is, you know, you're gonna get similar tones, and I kind of break that down in my ranking video for Sigma. You can see that. But this is a really good alternative. And also, if you already have this palette, you're pretty much getting the same palette. You're getting the same palette within Natasha Denona. So you have more mattes, a little bit less shimmers, but again, the shimmers in the Natasha Denona aren't the spectacular ones that I like expect from her palettes. Okay, now I'm gonna go for a really affordable option, and we're gonna look at ColourPop. So I do have 2 ColourPop palettes. I have a couple ColourPop palettes. What I've been doing is I have gotten the Mega palettes, because the Mega palettes aren't, as far as size is concerned, they're bigger, but they're not that much bigger, and you're gonna get 30. And I really have them for kind of comparisons for situations like this. Now, the first one I thought of when I first was going through it was like, oh, the Smoke and Roses, because it's Bloom and Smoke and Roses. But again, this one is more pink, and some of the other shades, and I didn't swatch these, but some of these shades like the Ren shade, they might be comparable, but for the most part, this is more pinky and this is more peach. So the Bloom is definitely more peach. But when I looked at the Smoking Hot palette. So the Smoking Hot palette is the other Mega palette, and this one definitely had some comparisons. So here is the Smoking Hot palette. Now you have a lot more browns and stuff too. You've got some coppery shades, but when you compare them side by side, you're gonna see, you know, you're gonna kind of see it more. Not like you did with the Corte Rosa, because the Corte Rosa, you know, you're kind of comparing 14 to 15 and the price point's very similar. However, this one is very good. So what I'm gonna do is, this is the first swatch of the matte. So the mattes, now that first shade, I couldn't find, there's not one, but that's also the shade I don't like in the Natasha Denona. So the fact that there isn't a shade that compares to Petal is fine with me. So there's a couple shades. That second one actually was very similar. There's definitely some more deeper shades, but there's just a little bit more variety. You've got some peach, you've got like a more of a red. You definitely have a little bit more variety. Obviously, you're gonna have 30 shades in the Smokin' Hot palette, but you know, very, very similar looks you're gonna get with it. Then these are the shimmers. So here are these are the comparisons with the shimmers. Now the second one is the Equinox one. There really isn't a shade like that, so that is one. But again, that shade isn't as special as I was expecting. And the rest of the shades, honestly, are very, very similar. The second to last shade is deeper. It's a shimmer and it is deeper, but if you wanted to go light-handed, you could definitely make it. But I was able to find pretty much dupes within the Smokin' Hot palette. So again, if you want to get the Natasha Denona, then get it, right? It's your money. But if you have this one and you just really like the color story, then you're going to be able to get a lot of the same looks in the within the Smokin' Hot palette. And I just checked, I think this is like $30 or $35. This one right now on ColourPop is on sale for $15. So it might be closing out, but it's full price on Ulta. I usually get these, I pick these up whenever they're like half off at Ulta. But right now it's on sale at ColourPop for $15. So I don't have a code with anybody with ColourPop. ColourPop doesn't know who I am. So, you know, use somebody else's code, or, you know, buy it at Ulta. But it's a really good comparison. So again, if you have it and you're trying to talk yourself out of getting the Natasha Denona Bloom, you don't need it. Okay, so there you have it. That is my video on the Natasha Denona Bloom palette. A little bit later than everybody else, but I did finally want to film it. I like it. I like the palette. However, I don't love it. And it left me, when I first did the swatches, it left me wanting more. And even this eye look, it's pretty. It's pretty, but that's it. It's nothing that's, I'm not like, when I got the I Need a Warm and the I Need a Nude, I was just like, it stayed on my vanity, and that was the one I reached for, especially I Need a Warm. This one, I don't have that. I think it's pretty. It's like, okay, but I'm going on vacation in a week, and usually when I get a new palette, like that's the palette I want to take on vacation. This isn't going on vacation with me. So it's pretty. I like it. Maybe I'll learn to like it more. It's leaving me with more to be desired. Like I felt like that was just, she didn't give us what she can give us, which is a little disappointing, especially at $69. So my recommendation is, if you want it, get it, but wait for a sale. Wait for a sale. And if you have the Corte Rosa or the Smokin' Hot palette, then you're gonna have these shades and you're gonna be able to create those same looks. So maybe play around with those and see if those are really the shades that you really, really want. And then, you know, buy the Natasha Denona, or play around with them and say, you know what, I got it. I got these shades. I don't need another one. So that's my recommendation, which was a big surprise, because I'm not buying every palette, and I was really expecting to just like love this one. And I just like it, which is disappointing when you pay $69, you know, plus tax. So, but it is what it is, and you live and learn. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.